What's up, peoples? It's Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist, back in here with one more video. First off, I want to start off by saying I am so sorry for missing out on so much within the last couple months because I just really dealt with some personal shit that really set me back for a while. It really did. And especially with family issues and whatnot. So, yeah, it's been pretty rough for me. And I owe you guys an apology because I promised y'all I would upload daily content on a more consistent basis, but I haven't. And yeah, I'm really sorry, guys, for the lagging, staying behind, and just not being consistent with y'all, not being honest with you guys. It's been a lot going on in my life right now where I just question reality at this point in time. But I'm back with another video. I'm okay now. I'm having a good day despite the fact of what I saw with my Lakers, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But yeah, I'm doing okay. And I'm ready to get back into business with y'all. So let's talk sports. But today's topic is going to be NBA playoff basketball. Now, how we got to this point, of course, first we have the little play-in tournament where the 7th seed going against the 8th seed, and the loser of that one will go on against the 9th and the 10th seed, the winner of the 9th and 10th seed, to clinch the final playoff spot in the playoffs, respectively. Of course, it started off as a dud in the Eastern Conference, but then it picked up really nicely in the Western Conference as whatnot. Lakers, in one of the best games of the year, took down the Golden State Warriors by a close margin. LeBron hit a game-winning three. And then Memphis, shocking the world by taking down Golden State to clinch the 8th and final playoff spot. Ja Morant taking down the great Steph Curry was arguably the biggest story of that play-in tournament. So, yeah. And for me to talk about that, we're going to have to talk more about this play-in tournament in the offseason when it's over to see how it really benefits the NBA in a while. Because many people say that it resurrected interest in the NBA in a lot. But who knows? It's left to be desired. I'll leave it up to you. But that's a story for another time. So, the NBA playoffs have been really interesting. A lot of twists and turns. A lot of exciting matchups in a way. And just incredible scenarios to think about as we march towards a grueling several months heading into early July for an NBA Finals series, which will happen, which will begin sometime around 4th of July weekend and whatnot, because the season had to be pushed back due to the pandemic and the last season ending in October. So, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about in these playoffs. So, yeah, and I've been keeping track with all of them in particular, especially in the East and the West. There's a lot to uncover. Seriously, there's a lot to uncover. And of course, I want to share this with you all, obviously. I did catch a bit of yesterday's actions all around the playoffs, especially in Eastern and the Western Conference playoffs, as we all know it. Especially what is bound to be a good series between Portland and Denver. And I'm talking about the Portland Trailblazers and the Denver Nuggets, as the series is now even up at 2 apiece after Portland blew out Denver 115-95 to even the series at 2 games apiece, with Game 5 set for Monday, which is technically later on today if long and it takes long to upload. So, oh shit, my bad. I had to flip the camera a bit, so I had to check the time, so sorry about that. But, yeah, so it's 11:21 over here, and chances are it might get uploaded by midnight, so I'll technically say later on today, for Game 5 between Portland and Denver, it's a good series so far. So, yeah, Saturday, Portland blew out Denver 115-95 to even a series at 2 games apiece, with a pivotal Game 5 in Denver on Monday, or technically later on today. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, the superstar center for the Nuggets, was quiet in that one. 16 points, 9 rebounds. None of his teammates can get into a rhythm. Portland was like the team that got into a really nice rhythm throughout from start to finish, and it contributed to this win. And despite an awful night from Damian Lillard, where he was 1 for 10 from the field with only 10 points, and the majority of his points came from the free throw line. So, but he did kind of made up for it in a way with 8 rebounds and 10 assists. Um, with the majority of those went to his longtime partner in crime, CJ McCollum, who had 21 points and 8 assists himself, and to Norman Powell, who was the biggest star in that one, who led the team with 29 points. So, best outing shooting wise for him and scoring for Powell, one of the best two-way defenders that Portland desperately needed. Acquired at the trade deadline for in exchange for Gary Trent Jr., who they had sent to Toronto to bring Norman services, and he's paying real dividends. So that was a big win. And of course, you already had one team officially advancing into the second round of the NBA playoffs, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks, as they completed a 4-game sweep and domination of the Miami Heat on Saturday with a 120-103 blowout in Game 4 in Miami to complete the sweep. It was pure domination of the series. Outside of the first game in Milwaukee, which went to overtime, and it ended on a game-winning fadeaway jump shot from Chris Middleton to give him a close win with 0.5 seconds left to go. It was just lopsided throughout the entire series, especially in Game 4. And in Game 4, Giannis had his first... Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning back-to-back MVP, had his first career triple-double in the playoffs. His first career playoff triple-double, which was a 20-point, 12-rebound, 15-assist effort. Middleton also had 20 points. And Drew Holiday was fantastic in this series, drawing the most attention in this matchup, basically exploiting Miami's so-called stout defense. With his elite playmaking, elite defensive skills, shot creation, and facilitating the offense, which was desperately what Milwaukee needed in order for Giannis to stay and make a deep playoff run. And Jimmy Butler was awful in that series against Milwaukee, mainly because of the fact that he was guarded by Giannis, when last year he was cooking Milwaukee all over. And the wall defense of Miami was effective and neutralized Giannis throughout the last 2 years, a la Toronto and Miami. And he just was a complete non-factor. Tyler Hero sucks, as we all agree. He was inconsistent throughout the whole year, and he was bad in this series all the way around. Bam Adebayo wasn't much help, even though he had a nice game, 20 points, 14 rebounds in the elimination game. It still wasn't enough. He got exposed in the series as a whole, as he was taking mid-range jump shots, because Milwaukee's plan for Adebayo, as he was cooking him in the post and whatnot, since that was his strong point, that they were daring Bam to take those mid-range jump shots, because his mid-range game has improved quite a bit throughout the entire regular season, and the game plan was for Brook Lopez, the starting center, to play off and dare Adebayo to take those wide open mid-range jump shots. And he got exposed on that one. His mid-range game was their downfall. Butler was awful. Their rotation players were just not it. And it was just complete domination by Milwaukee. And with the fact that Drew Holiday is a far better player than Eric Bledsoe, it was over from the start. So Milwaukee advances, and they will look to see if they will take on either Brooklyn or Philadelphia, depending on how this goes about. But chances are they will take on the Brooklyn Nets in the second round, which I'm going to get into later on and whatnot. So, and the Philadelphia 76ers, speaking of which, by the way, they've been dominating the Washington Wizards, especially with a Game 3 blowout, 102-103, in which we had another nice night from Joel Embiid, the league MVP candidate, with 36 points. And despite a triple-double effort from Russell Westbrook, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, still wasn't enough. And Bradley Beal, still elite, just wasn't enough. Philadelphia's defense has just been on another elite level since Doc Rivers took over. Ben Simmons is a world-class defender. Joel Embiid is a league MVP candidate, like I said, especially when healthy. Tobias Harris has a really great series. It's just too much for Washington to overcome. So I expect the sweep come later on today on Monday to go ahead and advance to the second round to host the winner of either Atlanta or New York, as we all know it. And you had another interesting series between the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, despite a 28-point effort from John Morant, the Jazz was proved to be too much as they take Game 3 Saturday night, 121 to 111, behind a 27-point, 6-rebound, 8-assist effort from 33-year-old Mike Conley, who's been all-world this season. Another nice outing from Rudy Gobert, who had the it was really getting the best of the matchup against Grizzlies center Jonas Valanciunas, and that is going to be like the best matchup of the whole series. And a dominant effort from Donovan Mitchell, who's making his second game after returning from a high ankle sprain that's kept him off for like about over a month, as he finished with 29 points. So the ankle injury doesn't appear to be slowing him down at all. So just a great group effort from the Jazz, who now take a 2-1 series lead with Game 4 still in Memphis later on today. And we'll look to make it a 3-1 series lead, as we all know it. So now on to Sunday's action, which was earlier today or yesterday, however you want to look at it. And there were some interesting scenarios. You had the Atlanta Hawks dominating the New York Knicks, 113-96. Of course, this is the Knicks' first playoff series since the Carmelo Anthony era back in 2013, in which they won 54 games, made it all the way to the second round, got bounced by Indiana. And they're in a 3-1 series hole against the Atlanta Hawks, especially with Hawks superstar point guard Trae Young just cooking them all over. And he had another great outing with 27 points and 9 assists. John Collins had 22 points. Clint Capella had a double-double with 10 points, 15 rebounds. Danilo Gallinari, with that ridiculous hairstyle of his, had 21 points off the bench. Collective effort from Atlanta to take this commanding lead and hoping to advance to the second round of the playoffs, most likely against Philadelphia. And for the Knicks, it's been an admirable run, but I think this might stop on Tuesday night. Julius Randle finally had something going in his series statistically, which was his best outing. 23 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 assists shy of a triple-double. But he's still been relatively bad from the field goal percentage-wise. He was 7 for 19 with only 35% from the field. It's just not good. He's been completely non-existent in this series for the Knicks. Derrick Rose, the aging Derrick Rose, had 18 points in the starting lineup. So despite the bad performance from Randle in this series, Derrick Rose has been the biggest star in this series for the Knicks especially. R.J. Barrett finished with 21 points. And the Knicks, their season may end come Tuesday night if they don't get it together. So Atlanta may advance to the second round and take on Philadelphia, barring a Knicks comeback. I just don't see it happening. So yeah. And of course you had Game 4 at the Staples Center here in LA between my Los Angeles Lakers against the Phoenix Suns. And of course I was pissed, how I feel, because we lost that game 192. AD gets hurt. Anthony Davis gets hurt again, this time his left groin, so he had to leave late in the second quarter, right before the half, to tend to that, and he was done for the rest of the night, and he was getting neutralized throughout the entire game. After getting neutralized in Game 1, he had back-to-back great outings, a double-double, 34 points, and 10-plus rebounds. He got neutralized in this one. 6 points, 2 for 9 from the field. He was just awful. LeBron had to step up, and despite a late rally led by him with 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, it still wasn't enough. It really wasn't. For the Suns, it was more of a collective group effort, and they came to play. Jay Crowder had 17 points, including a couple three-pointers. Devin Booker had a bad night from the field, even though he did have 17 points himself. Chris Paul led the way with 18 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals. His best game of the series after being hampered with a shoulder injury in the last 3 games. And it was enough for the Suns to climb back into the series and even the series up at 2 games apiece with a pivotal Game 5 in Phoenix on Tuesday night as well. And of course, DeAndre Ayton, nobody has an answer for Ayton. He has another double-double. He finished with 14 points and 17 rebounds. Hell, he's been magnificent throughout the entire series and his playoff series debut. Um, a double-double in the first 4 games of this series. Not even the Lakers bigs have an answer for him. Not even AD, not even Andre Drummond, nobody. And it's concerning. He's also shooting like around 80% from the field in this series. And that's a problem if you're the reigning champions and if you want to play your heart out and defend your NBA crown. So hopefully my Lakers can rebound from this because it was pathetic. It was just pathetic. Anyways, moving on. You had the Boston Celtics against the big three-headed monster of the Brooklyn Nets. And Brooklyn's big three came out sizzling, and it's enough to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. They came out sizzling, combining to score 107 points of the team's 141 in this game. Kyrie Irving had 39 points, 11 rebounds. James Harden had 23 points and a whooping 18 assists. And Kevin Durant had like 43 points, or 45 in this game. That's a total of 107 points. And despite a 40-point effort from Jason Tatum, it still wasn't enough. And the Nets were able to win this one 141 to 125 in another blowout to take a commanding 3-1 series lead with Game 5 in Brooklyn come Tuesday night. And a win for them would help the Nets advance to the second round of the playoffs, which they will likely host the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, what they are. So, yeah, another potential scenario where you may see an all-time classic matchup between Brooklyn and Milwaukee. And I'm going to get to that if Brooklyn wins this one on Tuesday. And to close this one out, you had the Los Angeles Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. The Clippers blew out Dallas easily, 106 to 81. Luka Doncic, after being phenomenal in the first 3 games, he was god-awful in this one. 7 for 22 with only 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Kristaps Porzingis wasn't much better. He only had 18 points and 5 rebounds. So it was just a collective group effort from LA as a result to even the series at 2 games apiece, behind a 29-point, 10-rebound effort from Kawhi Leonard. Paul George had 20 points. Reggie Jackson, who continues to be an integral part in LA's offense and their defense, had 15 points. Rajon Rondo had 17 off the bench. And Patrick Beverley, who was their starting point guard, played only 5 minutes of action. He's being paid all that money, over $20 million per year, and he's their third-string point guard. That's not good. And if I were the Clippers, I would just release him via an amnesty clause just to save some money and whatnot. Because it's not looking good. It really isn't. So, yeah. Based on what we've seen, interesting scenarios, and see how this will go about. Brooklyn, and as far as series predictions of how they will end a concern, I still got Denver to win their series against Portland. Utah may dominate their way to a gentleman's sweep over Memphis. Brooklyn can easily close this out against Boston because Boston, by the way, speaking of Boston, Kemba Walker had to miss this game due to a knee injury that he suffered in Game 3. And already Jaylen Brown is out for the season with a serious injury that forced him to have season-ending surgery late in the regular season. Their season is pretty much over and done with. And in terms of Brad Stevens, we'll talk about him more later on down in the near future because I just don't think, I just don't think it might be that good for him to stick around. So, yeah. LA still might win the series, but they got to tighten up and just stay healthy. Atlanta can win this series against the Knicks. There's a lot to go on. So, but anyways, that's all I have for today. I will go on to continue more, but it's late. I got to rest because I got to go work later on today and whatnot. So, thank y'all for tuning in so much despite my camera mishaps. Sorry about that. And it's so good to be back with you guys. I missed you guys so much. I missed uploading for a while. And let's just keep this train rolling, man. So, if you guys like the video. And if you want to see more of my content, hit that subscribe button. If you want to keep updated when I'm going to upload my next video, hit that bell button where you get my daily notifications. And let me know what you think about this whole playoff action in the comment section. Who do you think will have the best odds to win this series? And how do you think each series will play out? And who do you have the best chance to win the NBA title this season? So we got to talk about it. So with that being said, I'm Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist, and I'm out. Peace.